Good morning, everyone. My name is Uda Andain. I'm today with Arthur Berzibilo from ISED, and we are going to be presenting AWS Cloud offerings at ISED. Some history about the cloud and ISED. We acquired AWS Cloud account from SSC back in June 2018. So that was more than 2 years ago, and since then we worked really hard with Amazon and AWS to set up our cloud environment and to do some planning, and we went through workshops to set up and configure the ISED landing zone. We also did a migration readiness plan, and the work was based mostly on lift and shift strategy, so that we have a good idea when it comes to a migration to the cloud and what ISED needs to do and prepare for operating a cloud environment to manage all the ISED workloads that we have today on-prem. So a lot of things were done and a lot of documentation was produced based on the work that we did with Amazon, and we have a lot of playbooks when it comes to cloud operations, including backup and patching, incident management, configuration management, etc. And when it comes to the roadmap, this is the roadmap that we went through for the last two years. So again, we started with the project stage back in 2018, and a lot of time was spent on experimentation and training as well, training everyone with how to operate cloud and how to run a landing zone for a production environment. And then we moved to foundation stage, where we started establishing an AWS Cloud Center of Expertise team, and this is where we spent time maturing the cloud operations playbooks and doing a lot of proof of concepts and pilots and coming up with documentation and onboarding process and costing model as well. And right now we are what we call the operation stage, where we have a landing zone, or we have a cloud environment for ISED to use in production as well. So and this cloud environment is going to be used for the workload migration initiative that ISED is going through right now. We are working and we are still working on our protected B certification. We're going through the process right now, and once we have that certification, we're going to move to the optimization stage, where we're going to go and optimize the costs and and work on our governance and the process on a continuous basis. So how did we organize the service offering and cloud service offering? Because we all know that cloud, when we say cloud, it means a lot of things are available to us. It's like a buffet. When we talk about cloud and we provide and we have access to the cloud, a lot of services are available to us to use. But we felt that we needed to come up with a structure to make it easy for ISED to use cloud and to have access to cloud services. So the way we did it was based on the requirements and the needs of our users. Most of our users who need access to cloud are delivery teams who are looking for for either a software as a service or infrastructure as a service or a platform as a service. So the way we did it, we structured all these needs into 3 categories, and we made it really explicit and easy to navigate for delivery teams to search for the type of service that they're looking for. So when it comes to the services again and the service offering, the way we organize that, it's based on these 3 categories. The first one is a software as a service. The second one is infrastructure as a service. And the last one is a platform as a service. Let's go and see in detail what each examples of each of these. So for the solution as a service, what we or software as a service, we do have a lot of teams at ISED and a lot of groups at ISED that they are looking for a SaaS solution. So things like machine learning and AI services, things like a service such as Amazon Connect, or managed blockchain, or managed databases, or even like a little bit more into development like Lambda functions and serverless applications. We also, this category actually includes everything that is a software as a service or a SaaS within a cloud offering. And the cloud team or the COE team, what they provide as a service to these delivery teams are anything related to getting things ready to consume, such as they send AWS accounts and subscription to the delivery team who are asking for this service. They do the initial setup and configuration, and they provide an estimate of the cost. The other category is the infrastructure as a service. So we do have delivery teams coming to us and asking for compute on the cloud, or a VM in the cloud, and on AWS we speak a lot about EC2, and they also ask for storage and database. And this is this package here. Basically, we provide delivery teams with an infrastructure so that they can go and install the services or the software that they need to run on that infrastructure. So when it comes to the responsibility of the cloud team, what we do really, and we make it really clear that we provide that the infrastructure to the delivery team with things like AWS account, and we do the initial setup and configuration, and then we provide all the credentials that they need to, and all the links that they need to be able to access the VM and the infrastructure. We also provide basic patching of the compute itself, of the EC2 itself, not that the software that is included with it, the VM, but basic patching, basic backup. We do some security monitoring, and we provide them with a monthly cost. And the delivery team, when they ask an infrastructure on the cloud, they will take the responsibility of managing anything that they install on that infrastructure. And when it comes to the container platform, this is going to be used by teams that need to deploy containers in the cloud. So we did set up an OpenShift environment ready to host Docker containers on any technology stack really. And the services that the cloud team provides for this platform is anything related to the setup and configuration for OpenShift accounts, and providing some monitoring and logs and auditing. And one thing that we spend a lot of time on and support delivery teams with the DevOps process and CI/CD pipeline. And this is what Arthur is going to be explaining and going through in details. It's our DevOps process and the pipeline, because this cloud team actually spends a lot of time providing services on this container platform and OpenShift platform. So this is another thing that we get a lot of questions about is the costing model for cloud. And because we structured our service offering into three categories, so the costing model follow that structure really. It depends on the model that you chose and how many environments you need for that offering. So if you are using a platform as a service or OpenShift, and you need a dev, UAT, QA, and prod, we provide the costing depending on that, and it also depends on the size of your application, and how much memory you're going to be using, and how much the application is going to scale as well. And on top of that, we add the support that we need to add for SSC cloud brokerage and AWS support costs. So that made it a little bit easier for delivery teams to know how much they're going to be consuming on the cloud, just an estimate to start with, because as we know, cloud is based on cloud consumption, how much you use on when it comes to compute and storage and memory. So the cost that we provide is just an estimate on potential usage of cloud infrastructure. Okay, so now I'll pass it to Arthur to continue with the DevOps and CI/CD pipeline. I'll talk a little bit more in details about our OpenShift environment and the way we do development in the cloud. Thank you.
Thank you, Huda. My name is Artur Przybyło, and I'm the member of the team responsible for the cloud implementation at ISED. As Huda mentioned before, our first step in the implementation of the cloud, with the help of AWS team, was establishment of the landing zone. What is landing zone? This is the solution that allows to quickly set up a secure multi-account environment. It allows to implement the baseline of core resources, set up multi-account architecture, identity management, logging, monitoring, and so on. Important part of the landing zone is the vending machine, which is the service that allows to provision new accounts with alignment to the organization's security baseline established by the landing zone. As part of the landing zone, we created the first 4 core accounts, including our AWS organization account. This is the account that allows the management of the landing zone, identity manager, including the single sign-on solution, organization control policy, stack set that I will briefly mention in the later part of my presentation. The second account deployed is the shared services account, which is responsible to manage Active Directory and networking, including the egress and egress network solution, and implementation of multiple enterprise tools. Next account is a log archive account, which is responsible for consolidation and securization of the organization logs. And finally, the security account, which allows cross-account audit and emergency access capabilities. So after implementation of the landing zone, we realized that to be effective in cloud management, we need to automate all or at least majority of the operational activities. And to do this, we invested in principal infrastructure as code. It offers a lot of advantages, mainly the visibility, which is a quick view of the resources that are implemented and their settings in the cloud. The stability, so predictable deployment of the resources without errors linked to the manual actions. The scalability, so easy horizontal scaling of the deployment resources. Security, basically we can implement the same architecture that can be deployed multiple times for multiple environments. And the transactional operations, which basically allow us to fully deploy the resources and in case of the error, provide the rollback solution. So how do we achieve that? The first option that we're using is customization of the landing zone. Landing zone provides the way to implement a lot of resources, and we're using this code to enhance that and adapt to our needs. This is for example, this is the way we implementing our own AWS configurations. Using the changes to landing zone, we also implement the global organization policies that are applied to all the account or specific organization unit. For example, this way we implemented the regional restrictions which are necessary for the protected B certification. The changes to landing zone and extension and fine-tuning of those rules is a very effective solution, especially in case when we deploy the new accounts, because everything embedded in the landing zone is automatically deployed to existing and to the future accounts. However, a modification of the landing zone is very time consuming because the update of the landing zone can sometimes take multiple hours. That's why we implemented another solution, which is basically code pipeline. We start with the GitHub account when we keep all our templates under source control in the form of the YAML templates and JSON configuration files. On any modification of the master branch, this code is automatically delivered to the specific S3 account in our master AWS account. What happens next is we create or we update existing stacks using either AWS console or CLI. And finally, those stacks are deployed in multiple accounts using the CloudFormation, and the resources are provisioned to all accounts. There are two main use cases where we use this strategy. The first, we use CloudFormation stack sets that allows us to implement the resources that are deployed to all or to multiple organizations' accounts. This way, for example, we deployed common IAM rules, our patching and backup solution, create of the S3 bucket, and so on. This is to some extent complementation of the updates that we do to the landing zone, but that solution is much more easier to implement, faster, and easier to test. Another case when we're using the CloudFormation template is to deploy specific resources in given accounts. We have multiple templates that can deploy resources like the full VPC, EC2s, RDS, S3, and so on. Advantage of that solution is that implementation of the same resources based on the single template allows us to make sure that our organization policies are always implemented. For example, this way the S3 buckets are always encrypted, always versioned, because that's embedded in our template. Here I want to present just one of the examples that we're using infrastructure as the code. What you see on that picture is on the left fragment of our shared services account, where we deployed two VPC, one for ingress and one for egress networking. Then we deployed the transit gateway and multiple application load balancers in the ingress VPC. On the right, you see one of the multiple clients account, where again we deploy VPC in the local way, and we connect that VPC to the existing transit gateway. Using the VPC templates allow us in automate all the connectivities, all the route tables, all the transit gateway attachments. So basically minimizes the chances of error. If we move one step higher in the definition, you see here the same shared service account when we deployed twice exactly the same infrastructure. So for example, one can serve as the base for the prod environment. The second one will serve as the development environment. On the right, we deployed our VPC to multiple accounts, and some of those accounts connect to the prod network, some of those accounts connect to the development environment.